Thanks to all of you for attending the 2024 AAUW of Colorado Fall Leadership Conference. I am Jill Smith, co-president of AAUW of Colorado, and along with Carolyn, we welcome you. Since 1881, the American Association of University Women, AAUW, has been the leading advocate for women and girls. And in 2026, AAUW of Colorado will celebrate 100 years of promoting gender equity. Over the years, there have been many changes in AAUW's organizational structure and operations, and especially in membership. Societal changes have also had an impact on our systems, and by using advanced technology, we have been able to communicate more frequently with each other and to do it in a way that all 11 branches from all around the state can participate. Fall leadership is a time for our leaders to plan and prepare for the new term. This year, Carolyn and I are answering the charge from our national organization to become more involved in our local communities, to make our name and mission known. And in this important election year, what a great opportunity we have now to start by collaborating with the League of Women Voters. Our state executive committee approved AAUW of Colorado's participation in the League's election activities, and that work has already begun. So our purpose today is for each of you to lead the way for your branch to reach out, share the AAUW name and purpose, and provide leadership in your communities. We made a few changes in the agenda that was advertised on the promotional announcement. Immediately following Beth Hendrix's talk and Q&A, we will be going into the breakout rooms, and a 10-minute break will follow the 30-minute breakout room sessions. In those sessions, you will be discussing materials that have been sent to each of you and sharing ways to start working with the League and then to consider other community organizations for collaboration. At the end of the breakout room sessions, we will come together and hear conclusions about collaboration at the state and branch levels drawn from each session. And now I have the honor of introducing our speaker, Beth Hendrix, the Executive Director of the League of Women Voters of Colorado. As a member of the local League of Women Voters of Arapahoe and Douglas counties, I remember when Beth was hired in 2018. She was hired to provide stronger visibility, partnerships, membership growth and engagement, and fundraising. Prior to her appointment to the League of Women Voters of Colorado, Beth managed 13 international sister city relationships, leading Denver Sister Cities International to be named Best Overall Sister City Program in the United States. She has worked for McCormick Tribune Foundation, the Denver Foundation, Denver Post Charities, and the Denver Post Season to Share, helping to distribute more than $60 million to local, national, and international nonprofits. Her amazing organizational skills and inclusive leadership style are an inspiration to all. Her lifelong advocacy for equity and justice began at age 9, marching with the United Farm Workers in Los Angeles. She is the proud single mom to 2 cats, 1 dog, 2 tortoises, and 2 human boys. We are honored to experience her passion, sense of humor, and grace as we embark on our different format for participation at our annual Fall Leadership Conference. I am delighted that Beth has agreed to share her expertise and experiences with us today, and I ask you to join me in welcoming her.
Thank you, Jill. It's really an honor to be here. It's an honor to have been invited, and especially after such a beautiful introduction. Thank you, Jill. This is This is just lovely. I'm also very honored to have so many members of the league here. That's really something because you all get to hear me talk all the time, and you're still here voluntarily. So thank you. Thank you. It's great to see some names like Karen, Donna, and Carol, and Jane, Phyllis, and of course, Barb and Jill. And I had the pleasure of working with Sue Ryden when I was at Sister Cities. Sue, it's lovely to see you. So, as I've prepared for today, I've been struck by the similarities between our two organizations. And I'm really impressed and by the work and longevity of the AAUW. 1881. You know, we're always bragging about 1920 here at the League, but you've got us beat by a full 39 years. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Are we good? Can everybody see that? Okay. The League's mission is empowering voters, defending democracy, which reflects our dual purposes of education and advocacy. The League of Women Voters is a political, nonpartisan organization that encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences policy through both education and advocacy. We get regular confusion about the fact that we are both political and nonpartisan. I'm sure you all do too, but the two are not mutually exclusive. Political means involved in politics, which the League certainly is, and nonpartisan means lack of affiliation with a political party. The League is proud to have been nonpartisan since our founding in 1920, never supporting or opposing candidates or political parties at any level of government, but always working on vital issues of concern to our members and the public. Our vision is that we envision a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. So because the League of Women Voters was founded by some of the very suffragists that successfully fought for the rights of full citizenship for women citizens of the United States, the colors in this slideshow represent the colors of American suffrage, gold, white, and violet for Give Women Vote. Violet symbolizes loyalty, white symbolized purity and the quality of the purpose of the movement, and gold represented the torch that guided our purpose. So like y'all, we're a tri-level organization, national, state, and local. When you join one, you join all three. Since our founding in 1920 nationally, the League has continued its dual purposes of education and advocacy, engaging in member-led studies on representative government, international relations, natural resources, and social policy. We arrive at our positions or stances on issues based on these studies and input from members in communities across the country. These studies can lead to official League positions on an issue if the entire membership can come to consensus on this position. This speaks to the grassroots nature of the League while allowing all members to speak with one voice about League principles. It should be noted that the League believes that issues, by their very nature, are nonpartisan, though political parties and candidates regularly try to make them partisan. If you'd like to learn more about our stances, I am going to put a link to our position book in the chat. So the League of Women Voters is well respected for our nonpartisan voter education, including candidate forums. We're getting ready to put on more than 100 candidate forums across the state. Vote411.org, our nonpartisan voter information website. and information on issues on the ballot. We spend a lot of time educating to make sure people are voting in an informed manner. And we advocate and we march. Yep, piss off the league and expect a march. This map shows here our 19 chapters. I'll be talking more about those in just a little bit. This picture up here in the upper is women voting for the first time in Colorado, and below there's a march that the league participated in for reproductive rights. I managed to get in a photo of flipping the bird, so sorry about that. So, come on. There we go. The League of Women Voters of Colorado, which was founded 8 years after the national organization, exists to advocate for positions at the state level, educate on state issues, and support our 19 chapters. So on the off chance you don't know, Colorado women got the right to vote in 1893. Colorado was the first state to vote in women's suffrage. And in 1894, 3 women were elected to the Colorado House of Representatives, including Clara Cressingham here. Colorado women then acted as mentors for women in other states working for suffrage. So also shown here is the first polling place in Colorado and the first time women could vote. So local leagues, our local leagues exist to create and advocate for positions at the local and regional level, to educate on local and regional issues. As I mentioned earlier, we have 19 leagues serving 25 counties. Those 25 counties hold 90% of the state's population. We're pretty well spread out, and I know that there's a lot of crossover in AAUW chapters and league chapters. So, some of our programming, voter services, is what we call voter education and voter registration actions. The League of Women Voters has several publications that we produce for local leagues to distribute. We've been producing ballot issues materials since 1936 on measures that are on the statewide ballot. We also have Send a Message, which includes contacts for all state and federal representation and justices, and Your Voice, Your Vote, with basic information about how folks can register and how folks can actually vote. We assist our local leagues in producing candidate forums and webinars. As I mentioned, leagues around Colorado are hosting more than 100 candidate forums this fall at all levels of government. We support the Get Out the Vote actions of local leagues. We do have access to the Voter Access Network. This is a database of voters in the state of Colorado that is used by the Democratic Party. This is something that you have to be a special type of organization to have access to, and you have to pay for it. So we do that to support our local leagues in really targeted Get Out the Vote actions based on who they want to target. We also do a lot of voter registration. We're known as registrars of voters, and historically we have certainly registered the general public. But since 2019, we implemented automatic voter registration in the state, meaning anytime someone gets a driver's license or state ID or renews that, they are automatically registered to vote, as well as touching state services. And we're working on getting federal services involved in that too, so that when people apply for Medicaid, they are also automatically registered to vote. So we're now an opt-out state in terms of voter registration, not an opt-in state. So because of this change, we are encouraging voter registration of high opportunity populations, including young voters. Young voters tend to move an awful lot, so it's hard to keep track of them and where their ballot should be mailed. And they also tend to be more apathetic. So we spend a lot of time working with young voters to register and get out the vote there. We also work with incarcerated populations. This past legislative session, a bill was passed mandating voter service centers in jails to allow incarcerated people to vote, because many incarcerated people are fully eligible to vote. Anyone serving time for misdemeanors is eligible. Anyone awaiting trial is eligible, and anybody on parole or probation is eligible. It's only people serving an active felony sentence who are ineligible to vote in Colorado. Now, we also have a contract, a partnership with the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. We provide voter registration services at about half of our state's naturalization ceremonies. This photo right here shows a very excited new citizen registering to vote with the help of a league volunteer. And we still do plenty of general voter registration at festivals and events. We're regularly asked to do that. So, on to action and advocacy. We have a trained volunteer lobby corps known as the Legislative Action Committee, or LAC. The Legislative Action Committee is made up of league members from around the state. Their responsibilities are tracking bills as they move through the Capitol in an area of personal interest to themselves, and providing advocacy and testimony in support or opposition of these bills based on league position and alignment. We've had many legislative victories through the LAC, including some listed here. The League of Women Voters was highly behind the Voter Access and Modernized Election Act of 2013. That's the act that gave us all mail ballots, drop boxes, same-day registration, early voting. We were also highly involved in the drafting and promotion of Amendments Y and Z, which created independent redistricting commissions following each census. Before, legislators wrote their own district maps, meaning they chose their voters. Now voters are choosing their legislators, as it should be, as democracy entails. We promoted the restoration of voting rights for parolees back in 2019, and we highly supported the Colorado joining the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. That's an agreement between states to use the national popular vote to elect the president and vice president of the United States. The League has a long-term goal of eliminating the Electoral College. So we believe each vote should count equally, and that will happen with the national popular vote. We were involved in the repeal of the death penalty in 2020. We supported multilingual ballot access in 2021. We highly supported the Reproductive Health Equity Act in 2022, and we continue to support extreme risk protection orders, or ERPOs, which are the ability of citizens and organizations to apply to a judge and sheriff to have firearms removed from someone considered at risk to themselves or the general public. So the upper photo here shows a league member testifying on a bill to a Senate committee. And the lower one shows a few league members attending a bill signing for bills that they promoted. We're regularly invited to these because we advocate pretty loudly. We also send out a fair number of action alerts. These are our calls to action on a specific issue to the general public and our membership. We encourage our stakeholders to contact officials about a current specific bill or action, and we give them the resources to easily do so. These action alerts can be really powerful. When an elected hears from 2,000 constituents about an issue, they tend to listen. When I first started with the League, I was talking to the press secretary of a former Secretary of State, and she told me that she used to say, "Uh-oh, here comes the League of Women Vipers." And I was really insulted at first, but I got over that pretty quick when I realized I'd much rather lead a group of vipers than a group of doormats. So we also have a number of task forces. These task forces exist to promote collective actions necessary to advance equity and justice in Colorado's systems and policies in areas that are aligned with League positions. Task forces are created and maintained to inform and engage members across the state to promote collective actions, to increase the understanding and importance of various issue areas through education. Task forces influence policy at all levels while speaking with one League voice. Membership is not required to participate in task forces. There's no obligation to attend regularly. Folks are welcome to pop in and out. So this is a great and easy way to get involved with the League of Women Voters based on your particular interests. So alternative voting methods. The League believes that states, counties, and municipalities should look into methods other than plurality voting to determine if voter voice might be better reflected. You've heard a lot about, and you will continue to hear a lot about, ranked choice voting. This is a regular topic in this task force. If you'd like to learn more about it, this is a great way to go. Climate emergency. Of course, the League is deeply concerned about our changing climate and advocates for swift and decisive policy and action. Education. The League supports quality public education and opposes vouchers, allowing tax dollars to be used at private or religious schools. Elections. Of course, the League wants to continually make sure our elections remain the gold standard and even jump up to diamond or platinum status. Gun violence prevention. We promote safe storage. I already discussed ERPOs. We support raising minimum ages, the elimination of and public availability of rapid fire guns and accessories. Healthcare. We support universal, comprehensive, single-payer systems that treat the whole person, including unfettered access to privacy concerning reproductive rights and gender care. Housing, safe, affordable housing. Nobody can live well without it. News access and literacy. This task force educates and advocates for the strengthening of our local news infrastructure as a mandatory part of people's right to know, and therefore a healthy democracy. They also educate on recognition of mis, dis, and malinformation that is so widespread. Reproductive freedom, that's pretty self-explanatory, but obviously includes fighting for rights to abortion, contraception, IVF, gender care as a matter of personal freedom and privacy. Ain't none of anybody's business. We are also in the process of creating a JEDI task force. That stands for Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. These task forces feed up to the Legislative Action Committee to advocate on issues of local and regional concern on behalf of our local leagues. Partners. Collective voices are louder and stronger. We partner with a wide variety of organizations for a wide variety of reasons. Some current major partnerships are shown here. We're working in coalition with Common Cause, the Colorado Cross Disability Coalition, Colorado Criminal Justice Coalition, ACLU, and many others to draft and pass a Colorado Voting Rights Act to ensure that we have the strongest possible protections for all Colorado voters, no matter how badly the federal VRA of 1965 is gutted. With our partners, the NAACP and Mi Familia Vota, we're preparing to file an appeal of a lawsuit that was recently dismissed, wrongly, we believe, against a group that is going door to door in search of voter fraud, and we believe intimidating voters as they do. We partner with El Seminario dual language newspaper on a lot of events. For instance, they translate our voter guide and share our voter guide with their readers. We're working with Colorado Community Media, a nonprofit that owns 25 smaller newspapers at the neighborhood, city, and county levels, including the Highlands Ranch Herald and the Douglas County News Press, to publish our Observer Corps report to increase the public's right to know about what's going on in governmental meetings. KUNC is an awesome partner that spreads the news of our work, and they've provided hosts as moderators of some of our candidate forums. Funders make great partners. They're full of resources and connections, and they want to be there for you. And it's the more the merrier. All it takes is some brainstorming and a phone call. The League of Women Voters of Colorado has a small but mighty staff. Myself, an operations director, a development and communications director, and a legislative liaison. You could also call her a staff lobbyist. So we all wear many hats and work hard to keep our local leagues as supported as possible. And that's all I have. I'm very happy to answer any questions. And again, I am so honored to have been asked. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you.
Okay, this is Carolyn. I will ask some of the questions. If anyone has questions, please put them in the chat for me. The first question is from Darcy Jude. She asks, the consensus required to endorse a policy, is that a simple majority of the entire membership or some larger number?
It is, and may I say, if any league members want to jump in here and help me try to answer this one, that would be just fine. Consensus is somewhat undefined in terms of numbers. It is not a simple majority. It is more, it can be called a groundswell. I would say if we had to put a number on it, it would be in the 80% range at minimum. Barb Dungy, Carol Ayers, anybody want to correct me if I'm saying something wrong, or if you'd like to put in further information.
I would like to say that you've done a great job, Beth, and I really feel as a league member that league is very responsive to people's opinions. And there may be some things that not everyone agrees on, but we can come to consensus, and it's a very civil process.
And I would agree, Barbara. Beth, you've done a great job. I would add that the local leagues all look at consider these. And so you have, with all 19 local leagues looking at these issues and study sessions, you have a lot of opportunity to get consensus and a feel that 80% or 90%, excuse me, is possible with that kind of input.
Yes,
Any
lots of
other-
back and forth, lots of discussion and debate. Excuse me.
Any other comments on this, Darcy? Did I answer your question? Do you want to ask anything else about it?
No, I think that does answer it. We are in our branch considering endorsing an issue that not everyone agrees on, and so I was curious to hear what the league's policy was on making those decisions.
Okay.
Thank you.
The next one from Joan Skoog, I think is how it's pronounced. How does Colorado make sure non-citizens are not registered?
That's up to our, hey, Kathy Ebersberger. That's up to the county clerks. Anyone, if you aren't able to provide proof of citizenship when you register, you are only allowed to vote on a provisional ballot. A provisional ballot isn't counted until you provide that proof of citizenship. So it is then after you've provided that proof of citizenship one time, you can, and you go into a voter service and polling place that is asking for ID for you to vote. That's when you can pull out your Excel bill or something less kind of restrictive in terms of ID. But checking citizenship is a big part of of each county clerk's job, and I believe with every fiber of my being that non-citizens do not vote in this country.
Okay. Next question from Faye Schrader. I note the extreme eastern counties do not have a League of Women Voters chapter. Is that a population issue or something else?
We would support a local chapter anywhere one decides to pop up. We used to have a chapter in Sterling, and sadly it fizzled. It's a bummer not having any representation on that whole swath of the eastern side of the state. It's not a population concern, though, of course, that area of the state is not heavily populated. Yeah, our chapters have come about geographically based on interest of the community. And that's what keeps us going, probably a lot like y'all.
Okay, is that Faye, did that answer your question good enough? You want to join us?
Yeah, I know that the Eastern Plains are not very populous. My sense in all the years I've lived here has been that they are also fairly conservative. And I wonder, let's see, let me back up here just a little bit. Here in Durango, at least, we have had women say to us, well, I won't join AAUW because I'm conservative and you're too radical. And even though we try to stay, I mean, nonpartisan, but there are issues that we support that some conservatives disagree with. So I just wondered how much of lack of League of Women voter, if you will, presence on the Eastern Plains is due to population, and how much of it is due to political philosophies, if anybody knows. It's just, and I noticed that the northwest corner of the state doesn't have much either, and that's another area that's not not highly populated. So I was just curious as I looked at the map. Thank you.
Sure. You're absolutely right that often, like AAUW, the league is accused of being left-leaning, progressive, and even an arm of the Democratic Party. We are not. We do not associate with political parties, and certainly don't promote or oppose candidates, though we do, as I mentioned, offer an awful lot of candidate forums to support informed voting. I don't doubt that that is a reason that the Sterling chapter fizzled. I don't doubt that that is why we don't have a chapter in Fort Morgan or Holly or Craig. I would love them. Our membership includes people of all parties, and our newest league is in Park County, which is historically a pretty conservative place. And we have plenty of representation on both sides of the aisle in that league and in many of our leagues. I will also say, in terms of gender, the league, it's ironic to me that the league actively discriminated against men for its first 50 years. But we then, in 1972, allowed men full voting membership. And our Chaffee County League is about 50-50 men and women. So, but we do absolutely have that perception. And because we do take such a strong stance on abortion rights, for instance, on the climate emergency.
Right. Okay,
Mhm.
great. Thank you, Beth. That sort of confirms what I've been thinking about. So I appreciate that.
You bet.
Okay, next question is from Carol Newstater. Are there events over the next 10 weeks where AAUW could collaborate with the league, or are there places where you need more assistance that we could work with you?
Absolutely. I am always happy to send anybody to our local leagues. That's where the action is. I think you all, outside of the Legislative Action Committee, and anyone is welcome to join that, and our task forces as well. But we all know that, where you live is where you hurt. And if something passes locally that you don't like, it can really affect your life. If something passes that you do like, it can really affect your life. So local leagues are incredibly important. And I encourage all of y'all to reach out to those local leagues in your area, and I'm super happy to help you do that.
Darcy Jude also asked a question along this line, and she wanted to know more about on what issues are the league and AEUW currently collaborating. Now, some of that may come up in the breakout sessions today, but can you talk on that also?
I don't know that we are formally collaborating on any particular issues, though I certainly welcome that. I will, on the State League's website, I'm going to share my screen here for a quick minute, if y'all don't mind. Okay, can y'all see our website?
Yes.
Great. Calendar. So this is our calendar, and it includes a lot of local league actions, meetings, events. So this is a great place to start. I'm sure it's very small on your screen, and I apologize. But if you can just go to the calendar tab, that is a great place to start. You'll see in September, we're getting into some candidate forums. On the November ballot, the league is highly supporting, of course, Initiative 89, which will codify abortion rights in Colorado's Constitution. Right now, it's only in state statute, and we would like to get it into the Constitution. We're also supporting Proposition KK. This will create an excise tax for firearms manufacturers and dealers, including ammunition. The funds raised will go to support Colorado's mental health systems and programs, including gun violence prevention. We are also supporting, let's see, what am I missing? We are supporting Initiative 310, which will create an open primary in Colorado, meaning you don't vote by party in a primary, you would vote for the candidates you like best. And that would be done using ranked choice voting. So that is, we see that as a really exciting reform of primary elections. We have an event coming up on September 21st that we call Making Democracy Work Day. That is kind of our election kickoff, and anyone is very welcome. So we will also, we're highly supporting the Freedom to Marry bill. Right now, Colorado still has in its constitution language saying that marriage is between one man and one woman. That's currently overridden by the national constitution, but we've heard a couple members of the Supreme Court throw around that maybe that should be re-looked at. So we want to ensure that Colorado remains a place of freedom for all people. We will be talking also about jail-based voting and how leagues can support the Secretary of State's office in rolling out those programs to support people in voting in jail. We will also be talking about mis, dis, and malinformation, how to recognize it, as well as how to support civil conversations amongst people of opposing views. So that should be that is on Saturday, September 21st, and it would be a great introduction into the league. We do have a $5 charge for that. We don't charge for many of our events. This happens to be one of them, but we're super happy to waive that for anyone at any time, no questions asked.
Okay, next question. This one is from Sue Ryden, and she was asking you to elaborate on the ranked choice voting ballot measure and also address the concern about the rapid implementation and voter confusion.
Absolutely. If this gets on the ballot and passes, the league will be pivoting hard on some ranked choice voting education. For sure. And we this bill caused a lot of debate, Sue, for sure. This was not a slam dunk by any means. So, Initiative 310 would implement an open primary, also known as a jungle primary, meaning all candidates, no matter what party, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Approval Voting Party, Unity Voting Party, at any Green Party, any candidate is listed on the primary, and people vote for who they like best, no matter what party. Then ranked choice voting is used. I will fully admit that I am not the best person to explain ranked choice voting, but it is a method of voting that allows people to not just vote for one candidate, but to rank their candidates in order of how they like them for as many candidates as they feel as they have feelings about. I'm not sure if that is true in 310. We might only get one vote. But what ranked choice voting does is then looks at the candidate with the least number of votes, pulls them out, and then retallies based on the remaining choices. So the vote continues to be retallied until there is one candidate left. I'm going to look for some better resources to put in the chat right now, because I wouldn't be surprised if I just confused you more than explained anything. So, but can I
Okay.
answer any? Go ahead.
While you're in your chat, Phyllis Graham had asked a question and she said it went into your chat instead of my chat. So if you happen to see that, that would be good. In the meantime, Sue Ryden was asking, what is the statewide membership for League of Women Voters?
About 2,400 people.
2,400. Okay. And I also had some comments here from Joan Skoog in Colorado Springs. On September 21, the Colorado Springs branch is sponsoring a co-meeting with the local League of Women Voters, and that's open to the public. Someone had asked about what collaborations are we doing. That is one. And then Pat Long and says the Boulder County League would welcome AAUW collaboration with our candidate and ballot issue forums and get out the vote efforts, advocacy for increase in the minimum wage and so on. Would either one of you like to add anything else about those comments? Let me move up. I think there's some more questions here that I don't have.
I did just put a link in, excuse me, in the chat that will explain about the all candidate primary with ranked choice voting. So I hope that will help.
Okay, and Peggy Servas in Douglas County requested the contact name, phone number, and email for the Douglas Arapahoe Voter Services Rep. If you happen to have that, or can direct her in the right direction, that would be good. And I had one more question here from Linda Davies, and Linda, you may want to explain this a little more. She says, is there a welcome reception with our current Colorado legislature to the League?
We kind of leave candidate meet and greets, which I think is, or legislator meet and greets, up to our local leagues. People are elected locally, so we'd like to leave that up to our local leagues, and many of them have plenty of them.
Okay. Hang on. Also, Peggy Chavas says that Douglas County AAUW would like to collaborate the league to host a public meeting on October 6th. Whoops, hang on just a minute. It moved away on October 16 at the Castle Rock Library. Peggy, do you want to say some more about that?
Well, the person you need to speak to is right here. And she just put a great
Thank you. Yeah, I
response
just-
in your chat.
Okie dokie. Okay. And Audrey McGuire in Colorado Springs says the date for the AAUW collaboration is October 19. So I guess we had that in wrong. Okay, so then Carol Ayers says the Arapahoe Douglas County League would welcome AAUW collaboration as well. We have upcoming candidating forums, ballot issue presentations, get out the vote project, et cetera. And she's the voter services chair, and she has in the chat, she has her email address and her phone numbers there. Sue Ryden is asking, how much does the state league help with coordinating local league events?
It really depends on how much the local league wants us involved. If they don't want us involved, we're not going to shove in. But if they want or need us, we're there to help. Our calendar is shared, so any local league can put their events on our calendar. Our communications staffer helps with a lot of their event promotion, both through, creating an event graphic and posting on our social media, including local events in our weekly newsletters. That's also an excellent way to find out about the League of Women Voters. If you go to our webpage, there's a button that just says e-newsletter sign up. And boy, you'll find out everything that's going on in the league. And yes, every local league has its own website as well. Let's see, a local league, for instance, I got a call yesterday from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services saying, our regional director is going to be in the San Luis Valley on Monday and Tuesday, and she wants to meet with the League of Women Voters. Can you make that happen? So I did. And so now they'll be meeting with our San Luis Valley League on Tuesday, and we're pitching in some money for that to cover that lunch, and just provided kind of coordination services. So that's one small example. We have 2 Zoom accounts that local leagues are always welcome to use, and we upgrade it to webinar status around candidate forum time, and that's really expensive, but it is a lot more secure for something like a candidate forum. So a lot of cross communication. I feel like, our local league leaders, have me on speed dial and vice versa. So, some conflict resolution when things come up between members or outside groups. What else do I do? Jill, Carol, Phyllis?
I just want to say Beth is very accessible. So go to her, check with her, check the websites. And yeah, and I hope that the league websites will be checking our AAUW websites as well and say, we're doing this. Could you help us co-sponsor it? Could you advertise it to your members? And that's a good way that we can help each other get the word out. We've got to share. We have so many issues that we do agree with.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're happy to promote AAUW events. Absolutely. The more the merrier.
Karen Hardy had another question back on the subject of the ranked choice voting. She said that one objection I've heard to ranked choice voting is that that out-of-state dark money interests can influence which candidate gets the most media exposure. And our question is, what consideration is being given to that?
A lot. That said, candidates currently without ranked choice voting sadly receive a lot of out-of-state money as well. Dark money in politics is a big issue and is a priority issue for the League of Women Voters. We consider that part of our basic platform known as Making Democracy Work. But I mean, it's an issue, Karen, and we heard a lot about 310 and the way it came about because it was pretty much promoted by one guy, one really rich guy who got this on the ballot, and that's concerning. You know, the idea of people being able to buy issues or candidates is about as undemocratic as it could possibly be. That said, we worked really closely with that guy's team to get Initiative 310 to a place where we were comfortable with it and can support it. So there was a lot of collaboration, a lot. And so it's concerning, but we feel okay about it. Money.
I just want to say it's concerning
Yeah.
and it's ongoing, isn't it, Beth?
Oh, absolutely.
We have to continue to be vigilant. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna get in one more question. This is from Betty Boyd. She says, I understand that under number 310 county, clerks will need to conduct 2 primary elections. Where is the money coming from?
Well, I haven't heard that they will need to conduct 2 primary elections, but don't quote me on that. I'm going to put this in the chat again where you can really get a lot more information about 310. It will also be discussed in full our Making Democracy Work Day on the 21st. And I bet we'll be having standalone presentations ahead of the election as well. But where will the money come from? It's a good question. The league is currently advocating the federal government for greatly increased federal spending on elections to the tune of $1.625 billion. I just had a meeting last week with Senator Bennett about it, and what a surprise, he's fully behind it. But right now, I believe the number is 575 million. And we're asking for 1.625 billion. So that's a pretty big difference. And county clerks are going to need this money. So I don't know that I answered your question, but it's sure something we're aware of.
Sue Ryden says she believes 310 is only for state level offices, not local or federal offices, that this might require multiple ballots tabulated separately.